Welcome to today's Career Lab. After the informational interview, what comes next? Brought to you by Mohr Career Services at the Lundquist College of Business. Okay, so following up after an informational interview is really important. First of all, of course, always send a thank you email or message in which you will thank the person for their time, cite something specific that you learned from them or enjoyed speaking about. You also want to think about continuing to build a relationship and maintaining that relationship over time. Now, if the idea of an informational interview is new to you, I'm going to refer to our other career lab about the importance of informational interviewing, because today we're talking about following up. Okay, so 3 ways to follow up I'm going to walk you through. We'll give you some different ways to connect with your contact. Number 1, you can connect regarding common interests. It could be that during the course of your either email exchange or phone conversation or even virtual coffee chat, you discover that you have a common interest with someone, not just business. It might be something else like sports, for instance, or maybe a hobby. This doesn't always happen, but it can happen. So this is something to kind of keep note of. You can also do a very classic share an interesting article that you think your connection might be interested in. And this is a great way to follow up. You can also send out a periodic newsletter about your career-related activities. And if you're thinking, ooh, is that like an annual holiday letter where you brag about yourself? No, it isn't that. Think of it more as 2 or 3 bullet points in which you show the person how you're continuing to grow your resume, your skills, and experience. We'll talk more about those things later. For samples of this, see Handshake, Career Center, Resources, the networking page, and then view the attachments. Okay, so here's an example of a LinkedIn follow-up about a shared interest. Now, you'll notice the tone of this is pretty casual. That's because sometimes if you really click with someone, it can be that you end up having a more casual conversation, especially if it's around a shared interest. So in this case, I wrote this as if I was writing it to one of my colleagues who is a die-hard Golden State Warriors fan, and I cannot imagine her having an informational interview without that coming up. So here's how it went. Hi, Laura. I saw the news about Steph Curry and couldn't help but wonder how you were taking it. Let's hope he's back and better than ever next season. So notice, I start out with the thing that we have in common, that shared interest. Now I'm going to take it back to business. I really appreciated our discussion about working in sports marketing. I've taken your advice and reached out to a few more alumni. That is super important. If someone gives you advice and you follow it, always, always, always circle back and let them know how it went. They will be interested in that, and they will become more invested in your success. Then just a closing. It's an interesting journey. I'm not sure what my next step will be, but I will keep you posted. Then again, here, I'm planting the seed that I'm going to keep reaching out to the person, then just a sign off. All right, so in a perfect world, you might get a great response from your connection. Sometimes you won't get a response, but that's okay. Reach out anyway. But sometimes, like I said, you might, and they might even give you something else to go on. Here's an example. Hey, Pauline, nice to hear from you. Yes, Steph is in my thoughts, but I'm not counting him out yet. Again, she starts with that point of connection, and then she gets back to business. Glad to hear you've connected with more alums. That reminds me, after we talked, I thought of an organization you might want to take a look at, the Sports Kids Company. Now, that's a fictitious organization. They're doing a lot of the kind of work you said you were interested in. Now, this is important because this can definitely happen. You have a conversation with someone and afterwards they think, oh, I probably should have mentioned this, but they don't necessarily make the effort to reach out to you. However, if you reach out first, you make it easy for them. So always do your best to make it easy for your connection to keep circling back with you. So here, this turned out to be very nice for me because she gave me one more piece of advice. Awesome. All right, so maybe you don't have such a close connection with the person. Maybe your conversation is a little more formal, something like that. This is an old school, very classic way to follow up. Hi, Laura, I came across this article from Forbes on the future of Bitcoin. I include the link and had to laugh. When we talked about this at our recent meeting, I learned so much from you. I'm attaching the article in case it is of interest. So note here, I am not asking for anything. All I'm saying is I saw this, I thought of you. It's a way to put my name in front of that person one more time and sort of make a deposit in that bank of the connection of building that professional relationship without asking for anything. So here's that newsletter style I was talking about. Yes, this is pretty long. I am not suggesting that you reinvent this every time. Rather, the bulk of it, the main part, those bullet points can be the same. What you'll be tweaking each time is the opening and closing for each of your connections. So, hi Laura, it was great to talk with you about the busy life of a marketing executive. You were so kind as to ask me to keep you informed about my progress. Here are some of the things I've been working on. So again, if someone says, even in an offhand way, oh, let me know how it goes, they are granting you permission to reach back out to them, jump on that and do it. So then here you would come up with a few bullet points of ways that you are continuing to grow your skills and your resume. As you can see, I've been taking your advice and I'm so glad to be involved in these projects. Again, I'm sort of like, just want to really make sure this point is clear. If you take someone's advice, circle back. They will be more invested in your success. And I hope all is well with you during this time of uncertainty. And these are times of uncertainty. But frankly, one of the questions that students ask me a lot is, how often should I reach out? And the answer is, it depends. So let's say you have kind of a basic level of connection with certain members of your network. This newsletter style can be great. You might think of 3 times a year or quarterly. Maybe you have a closer connection with someone, in which case you can reach out more often, maybe every couple of months. Now, if you happen to know that their industry or company is in growth mode, and industries in growth mode right now are likely to be healthcare, things like tech firms, insurance is very stable, things like that, you might reach out a little bit more often because you're trying to also see if they might have open positions. But don't hound anyone. You don't want to be a pest. Don't reach out every week or anything like that. Okay, let's talk about building credibility with a company. So maybe the company doesn't have any open positions right now. You might be thinking, is there a way to build interest in your potential? Can you still try to prove your worth? Or could you continue to grow the relationship towards future collaboration? The answer to all of those is yes, you can. So I'm going to ask you to think a little bit outside the box right now. You can actually pitch a project or internship idea to a company. Maybe they don't have an internship program established. That's all right. Maybe in the time of COVID, there's a lot of chaos and they don't necessarily know what they need. That's okay. You can pitch something, but you need to build the relationship first for 2 reasons. First, you need to make that connection so that they know you, but also you need to get to know the company so you can try to figure out how you could help, what kind of project you could pitch. Then you'll focus on the skills that you have and those that you want to learn. Go to a manager with your proposed idea. What is your proposal? What project do you think you could do for them? What type of internship might you sketch out for them? To access internship proposal templates, go to our Handshake, resources and Handshake, and then the internships page. And there is a template and a scope of work in the attachment side. So you might want to talk this through with someone, so make an appointment with a professional career advisor. So key takeaways here. Remember, an informational interview is just the beginning. Following up appropriately is important. Do focus on building a professional relationship, something that's going to last over time. You're always going to need a professional network. Never stop networking. Do you want to take it further? Consider pitching a project or even an internship. For further support, make a virtual appointment with a career advisor through Handshake. Stop by a virtual drop-in from 1 to 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday. There's the link. Our career resources are available on Handshake, and for upcoming events, please check Handshake. That's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next time in the Career Lab.